It's my favorite segment of the week. It is the Steelers Talk mailbag here in Week 17, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are about to take on the Cleveland Browns here in Week 17 in Cleveland. And on today's show, I'm going to be answering your questions. So if you guys want to get a question on a future edition of the Steelers Talk mailbag, we do a mailbag every single week. We record it on our live shows, usually on Thursdays. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. What we provide for you guys here on Steelers Talk is the most interactive community for Steelers fans anywhere here on YouTube. All right, so if you guys click that subscribe button and join our community, we put out daily community posts and polls for you guys to vote on and engage with each other in the chat. We also put out 2 videos a day talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, keeping you informed on all the latest surrounding this football team. And during the offseason, we're going to have free agency stuff, draft coverage, the whole 9 yards, breaking news coverage whenever big news hits. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Join the most interactive Steelers fan community anywhere here on YouTube. $2 here from Bernard says, do you think A-Rod is better than Russell Wilson? Yes, I do. And I think in the specific way, Bernard, that A-Rod is better than Russell Wilson was, and I said it during our free agency coverage this year, was A-Rod gets the ball out faster. With Russell Wilson, he would hold the ball forever, take a lot of sacks, and if you know anything about sacks, they're drive killers, man. You get into second and third and longs, and it's very difficult to dig yourself out of those situations. But what A-Rod does at such a high level is he reads the defense, he knows what he's going to get, on a specific coverage before he even snaps the football, and he can get the ball out fast because of that. The ball getting out fast helps the offensive line, and we've seen this offensive line grow tremendously because they don't have to pass protect for as long as they have been over the last several seasons. And, having a guy as intelligent and as efficient as Aaron Rodgers, I think, has really helped this offense stay on schedule, be efficient, do all the things that they've done this year, and that's really been the biggest upgrade for the Steelers offensively, going from Russell Wilson to Aaron Rodgers. Kevin Reed says, how do you think Cook will hold up against Garrett? Well, the thing about Cook is that he's not going to have to do it by himself. All right, they're going to give him a lot of help. They're going to give him chips. They're going to give him doubles. They're going to even put 3 guys on Myles Garrett. And then also, like we just discussed with Aaron, he's going to get the ball out fast. This is why Garrett had 0 sacks versus the Steelers when we played these guys back in Pittsburgh in Week 6. All right, it's because Rodgers was getting it out fast, and he knew, even with Broderick Jones at the time playing left tackle, they didn't give up any sacks because get the ball out fast, Garrett's not going to have time to get to the quarterback. So I think the 2 ways that you mitigate Garrett are pretty simple. Number 1, you run the football. And you run it away from him, then the second thing is you get the ball out fast when you do throw the football. So, the way that you can allow yourself to do that is avoid those third and long situations, avoid penalties, stay on schedule, do all those things. If you're going to throw it deep, throw it on your first read. That's good. That's all going to be a part of the game plan this week, as Myles Garrett is an absolute game wrecker and pretty much the unanimous defensive player of the year this season. Sark Craig says, no knock on TJ, but do you think the Steelers are playing a smarter style of defense schematically since Watt's injury because they can't lean heavily on him? I think that's part of it, Craig. I also think part of it is, Watt, when he's out there, I think the Steelers defense is slightly more predictable because, right now you've got kind of a balanced kind of set there where you've got Jack Sawyer and Nick Herbig on one side and Alex Highsmith on the other. And, the Steelers are dropping these outside linebackers a lot, all right? They're not rushing with all 5 guys a whole lot when they're in base right now. They're only rushing with 4, and they're being very creative with the way that they're deploying these sim pressures and sending linebackers and safeties while dropping linemen into coverage. That's something that Terrell Austin and Mike Tomlin usually never have done in the past. Now they're implementing it, and it's working phenomenally. And Watt is capable of going out in coverage. It's just he's so good rushing the passer, and that's what they pay him to do. It's just, when they play Watt, it's a little bit more predictable about which outside linebacker is going to rush and which one's going to go out into coverage when they do play that style of ball. So, maybe they want to, mix it up a little bit more. I think that would be prudent is when Watt gets back, put him out in coverage a little bit more. Keep these offenses on their toes because we know Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, Jack Sawyer, these guys are capable on the other side of the line rushing the quarterback. And I know it sounds a little bit counterintuitive to put your $41 million per season edge rusher out in coverage, but we've seen the results of that style of defense over the last several weeks, and it's worked for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So hopefully they can continue to do that when Watt eventually gets back. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Will Aaron Rodgers be back with Pittsburgh next season? Simply give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section for today's pinned question. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at PrizePicks. Well, I'll tell you about PrizePicks. Get down there in the comment section and simply give me a yes or a no. With that, let's have a word from our sponsor today at PrizePicks, and it is the holiday season, guys, and in my opinion, it's the best time of the year for being a sports fan. Bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes, it's all happening all at once. Well, all that action is going on. There's one place where it feels good to be right, and that is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a super simple daily fantasy app here, guys. It's super simple to play. Just pick more than or less than on at least 2 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. My favorite feature about PrizePicks, though, is that how you play is up to you. If you want a little bit more flexibility and you want to just have fun with it, you can choose the flex play where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. But if you're feeling really strong about a particular lineup and you want to go for it all, you can go for the bigger payouts with the power play. No matter how you play, though, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test and make some money. That is, if you know ball. So for Saturday night's matchup here between the Packers and Ravens, a big one for the Steelers, I'm going to take the more on Brandon McManus. PATs made. I'm going to take the more on rushing yards for Derrick Henry and the more on field goals made for Tyler Loop. You guys can download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Question here from DJ KJ says, who do you think will be the best player on Sunday? Also, I hope this game isn't a heart attack game. Well, hopefully the game doesn't matter really at all, DJ KJ. Hopefully the division's locked up and we're playing Will Howard on Sunday. But if the game, matters, I think the guy that needs to step up on offense with DK Metcalf being suspended is Adam Thielen, all right? Because Myles Harden is their slot cornerback in Cleveland. Denzel Ward might be back this week on the other side of Tyson Campbell. And with DK Metcalf out and Roman Wilson and MVS likely starting on the outside, that puts a lot of pressure, in my opinion, on Adam Thielen to have a big game against Myles Harden. Because I do think Cleveland's going to play a lot of man coverage. So that's going to give Thielen a lot of opportunities man-to-man against the weak link in the Cleveland Browns secondary. We saw last week Adam Thielen get open against man coverage, against zone, against all different types of coverages to get big-time completions, and I think he had 3 first down completions on 3rd and long situations. So Thielen was huge in those types of weighty situations for the Steelers last Sunday. I expect him to have a much bigger role in this ballgame, maybe even get up to like 8 to 10 targets. I think that he's going to have to play that big of a role here with DK Metcalf out, but obviously running the football, getting the ball to your playmakers in space like Darnell, Jalen, and Kenny is also going to be important. Finding a way to get a deep shot every now and then to MVS or Roman will be big as well. But Thielen, I think, as that tactician, that route runner in the slot, I think is going to play a big factor in this ball game if it matters on Sunday. Kenneth Kalo here says, do you think we may see more Kaleb Johnson, especially if the division is locked up? It's certainly possible. He didn't get a helmet last week, so we'll see if he ends up getting a helmet this week. But I look at Kaleb, and I see somebody that, the Steelers probably feel like is still cooking in the oven, and they're going to, take him out next year. But, if the division's locked up, there's a lot of guys that I want to see play more. I want to see Kaleb play more. I want to see Roman Wilson play more. I want to see some of these guys that might be asked to take on bigger roles in the future, see what they can do. Will Howard, I think I would start him instead of Mason Rudolph if you're going to bench Aaron Rodgers this week and next. So certainly there's players here that, you've drafted pretty high recently that haven't been contributors, or at least haven't been contributors recently for the Steelers, that if the division is locked up, I'd absolutely love to see them get more playing time moving forward. Make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. The real ones know liking the video is the best way to help out the channel. It tells the YouTube algorithm that you're enjoying this content content as a Steelers fan, so they're going to recommend it to other Steelers fans. And, if they see it in their recommendations, they're going to click on our videos for the first time, click that subscribe button, helps the channel grow, and then they'll click the thumbs up icon, right? So it just becomes, a little bit of an avalanche when a lot of people click that thumbs up icon, helps our videos do the best that they can possibly do. So if you enjoy the content we provide for you guys for free here on Steelers Talk, I'd greatly appreciate it if you click that thumbs up icon. JT Clover says, is Baker or Goff opinions going into next year? What's that, Ponzi? Options going into next year, especially Baker, because I could see the Bucs moving on. I don't think so. Goff is not the issue in Detroit. In fact, I've been very impressed that he's put up the numbers that he's put up despite the offensive line taking a step backwards this year. I didn't think that was going to be the case, but it has been the case, and he had an awesome fourth quarter against the Steelers defense. I mean, a lot of people are trashing the Steelers defense for giving up as many yards and points as they did in the fourth quarter last Sunday, but I'm watching that film, and I'm like, it's one crazy good throw after another from Jared Goff. And, I chalk that up more to good offense than bad defense. And, Goff almost led that team back, on his back. He carried that team in the fourth quarter. And then Baker Mayfield, it's just, for me, JT, it's a matter of who are you going to get instead, and there's just not a whole lot of great options, right? Kyler Murray, Jacoby Brissett, maybe Matthew Stafford becomes available if Burrow gets traded to the Rams, but I think that's highly unlikely. There's not that many good quarterbacks in the draft this year. I think they're going to stick with those guys. So I don't see Goff or Baker being realistic options, JT. If you're looking for realistic options, I would look at Aaron Rodgers, who is a free agent next year. Bring him back for another season. Kyler Murray. I would look at potentially Geno Smith. And I know these probably aren't options that you love, but those are the ones that I see being realistic at this point in time. Gary Frank says, do you think Gainwell and Washington have made a big impact? I think so. Yeah, definitely. Especially Gainwell, man. Gainwell is your leading receiver. I think he leads the team in receptions and even receiving yards, if I'm not mistaken, this season. So he's been huge. It's just a Swiss Army knife offensive weapon. And then Washington, obviously, to be able to just do a check flat with Darnell Washington, get him the ball out there when they sag off in coverage, and then he just runs over a DB. It's just so entertaining to watch. So these two guys are some of the best players on the Steelers offense, in my opinion, Gary Frank. So, yes, I would say they have been a big impact. So let me know down there in the comment section, what is your confidence level in Mike Tomlin as Pittsburgh's head coach? Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 down there in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments. And make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Greatly appreciate all of your guys' support. Make sure you guys join us for our mailbag next week as well. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.